Hello, manga and anime lovers. I'm Branch, and today I'm talking about Mysterious Disappearances, Episode 10. Now, this seems to be the conclusion of the VTuber Mermaid arc, and it was pretty good. It wasn't quite as good story-wise as the last two arcs, but the thematic-wise, this arc was probably one of the best. That's probably what I'll talk about most. First, I'll touch on a couple things that I really liked. Aside from the thematic elements, one of my favorite parts of this episode was learning about all the different kinds of Tsukumogami. I can't remember half of them. I remember kind of what they do, but not their names at all. But it was still very interesting nonetheless. Especially the last one. That's not even a Tsukumogami, but the mermaid yokai that foretells diseases and cures diseases and is more effective depending on how many images there are, which is why the VTuber avatar Yorumun was, I don't want to say multiplying, but basically multiplying so much in order to be able to cure her creator. I thought that little twist at the end was really nice. Seeing the teacher use her, not Oni, because, yes, Oni, but not Ushi Oni. It completely skipped my mind, but using her powers to dispel Yorumun's curse. I'm not even sure what that was. Maybe it was representation or something, because even Yorumun herself didn't seem to know what she was doing. But anyway, I just thought that was really cool. Probably one of my favorite moments of her, aside from the last episode where she was encouraging Nodoka at the gym. And that's basically everything, I guess, superficial out of the way, because now I really want to talk about the thematic elements of being a VTuber that this arc brings to the table. It's kind of a commentary on the relationship between VTubers, their avatars, and the fans. And being an avid VTuber fan myself, I found this really interesting. The overall picture is that ultimately the girl behind Yorumun used the avatar to bypass her own weaknesses to do what she really wanted to do in life. And this is how a lot of VTubers work. They adopt a persona, and in doing so they're able to bypass and throw away their fears or their insecurities and basically become who they really want to be. It's also very fitting that the girl behind Yorumun worked herself basically to death in order to please her fans and become the best VTuber she could be, because anyone who's a VTuber fan will know that this is a very commonplace thing that happens in the industry. Japanese workplace as a whole, but also the VTuber industry. It's very sad how it happens, but it's not super surprising that it does, because when someone is finally free of their physical inhibitions and they're able to be their true self, it removes all limiters, and doing that isn't necessarily always a good thing. But people can also think that they have to work super hard in order to either give back to their fans or to stay relevant. It's also, unfortunately, very true that even though the girl behind Yorumun worked herself so hard, some of her fans would never be able to reconcile who she is as the person inside of Yorumun as opposed to the VTuber avatar. Because the person behind Yorumun is more or less an ordinary girl who's just more misfortunate than most people. And as we can see with Nodoka's reaction, she vehemently rejects the idea of the girl inside Yorumun being the same person. She does it because she's kind of basically very disillusioned with what's going on, and not even because Yorumun and her real person are so different. More like it's mostly because the girl behind Yorumun wants to deactivate her. She wants to stop activities because she has to. And you see this a lot with fans when a VTuber retires or graduates. Not so much nowadays, because it's not uncommon nowadays to see VTubers move agencies by graduating. But especially back before the whole VShoujo stuff became popular, it was very common for fans to despair when a VTuber graduated. And I can see a lot of them acting like Nodoka did if they were ever able to directly confront the person behind the avatar. But VTuber fans can also eventually accept the person behind the avatar. In fact, you see it a lot more nowadays that VTuber fans are more willing now to see the person behind the avatar, if they have their own YouTube channel and their VTuber channel, to be two sides of the same person. In fact, I would say a lot of VTubers have their real persona known already if they have alternate presence online. And it used to be super taboo to talk about, but not so much anymore, because the newness has worn off. The specialness of VTubers has basically worn off, and they're ordinary people now. It's a normal profession. So just like Nodoka accepts Yodamun's graduation and accepts the person behind her after she learns how much harder this girl has worked and how much more this girl has suffered than herself. Which leads us to the conclusion of the episode, which I've already talked about superficially, but thematically is probably my favorite this entire show, is that the VTuber avatar, quote-unquote, saves its creator by allowing her to work through her troubles and eventually stand on her own 2 feet. I really like that metaphorical presentation of that, because that's what happens. A lot of times VTubers are not at all confident before they begin their activities, and then if they're able to grow themselves as a person behind their VTuber avatar, then eventually when the graduation occurs, they're able to move on to better things and become a better version of themselves before and while they were a VTuber. The most obvious example of this is probably Kason, who is, well, I mean, I know a lot of people know her story, but she was a VTuber at Hololive and then graduated due to a lot of Chinese-related drama, and then went back to her own channel and is now part of VShojo and doing a whole bunch of great things. I just thought that was really good, and I really appreciated all the commentary on being a VTuber. Probably one of the best representations of VTubers I've ever seen in any media. That being said, that's about all I have to say on this episode. Looking forward to the next one, and hopefully I'll see you there. Bye!